family friendly.
Hey guys, and we're back with Real Talk with Real People. Today I'm joined by Lee, Brandy, and Kim. And I wanted to ask you guys a question. What do all these people have in common? Chris Farley, Paul Gray, Mitch Hedberg, Jimi Hendrix, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Michael Jackson, Heath Ledger, Lil Peep, Marilyn Monroe, Brittany Murphy, and the list could go on forever.
They're famous.
Yeah, they're all celebrities.
They're all celebrities.
And they all died of drug overdose.
They all died
Yeah.
of drug overdoses. So I guess the question is, how prevalent is substance use in celebrities?
I would say it's as prevalent as substance use is outside.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I mean,
don't
really,
think
it's
anything
not,
more.
they're not any more special
Right.
or dinged for it than anybody else. Honestly, we've seen that people who are what I would call creatives tend to be more involved in things like that. And that's just a personal, perception and things that I've seen. There's no, I don't have statistics on that. But you see that more. People taking it not necessarily strictly as a coping mechanism, but it's just sort of the culture. And if you're a celebrity who parties hard, you're going to have the same impact as if you're a college student who parties hard, or, average Joe who parties hard.
We don't have a list of the college students' names, though.
Yeah.
Well, they're not celebrated as much as the celebrities are,
Right.
so when average Joes overdose and die from it, it's sad to the people who knew them and it hurts them, but when a celebrity, say Michael Jackson, dies, you have 25,000 people at the funeral to celebrate him because of the mark he left on folks.
Do you guys think that with them being famous, and then clearly they're using substances, do you think that influences society?
Absolutely.
Yeah, if I want to be like, Marilyn Monroe or something, and I really look up to her and admire that, and I found out that one of the things that she did was use substances, and I'm thinking, well, maybe that enhanced her ability to be so amazing. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's that extra bump that I need to get that advance in my career or what have you.
And I've heard that too, like as a musician, everyone's like, you got the ones that smoke pot and stuff like that, and then you're like, well, it helps me get creative and stuff like that, and you're like,
That's
sometimes
what
you're thinking,
yeah.
oh, well, maybe I need to try that so I can, do better at music, or I
I'm
can
just
be
gonna try it
more
one time.
creative. Right,
See
yeah.
if it works.
Just to see what it
But
is.
I mean, that's definitely an influence from them there.
Can I be the devil's advocate here?
Absolutely.
It very well may make you more creative. There's fact behind that, and there's reason that people say those things. It's true. There's a reason that in some states they're still using LSD and psilocybin mushrooms in controlled situations and being monitored by doctors and stuff to unlock different parts of people's brains. So there is truth to that. However, if we're not educating folks and putting the prevention piece in there so they know what the chances are that could come from using things like that, we're doing them a disservice.
Well, it releases their inhibitions. And
Yeah.
so if you're not inhibited, you have all these free thoughts and amazing creativity, but at what cost?
Right. Is
Right.
it worth the cost?
That's what our
Exactly.
concern
That's the way to put it.
is the cost is too high. So you have this amazing creative thought and you make this great contribution to society and you're dead tomorrow.
Yeah. Even think about child stars. We have so many stories of child stars who turn to drugs and alcohol, and many of them have already left us. I watched a show on Reels the other day that talked about different strokes, and two of those three are already gone, and the one who's still here has struggled with substance use his entire adult life. And it's poor coping mechanisms. All three of them use those as coping mechanisms because of the things that were going on in their life, the stressors.
I mean, they're
and
young,
stuff.
they got a ton of money
Yep.
from the shows, and they're bored.
And there's no direction how to,
Right.
what do I do with my life?
And then after that, normally I'm just famous for a child, and then it's harder for me to get adult jobs. They got all this money, they're sitting around
Yeah.
bored, that's a powder keg of
Sure, it is.
of issues and stuff. Well, really surprising though, when I was looking at this list, I thought fentanyl would be on here more.
So fentanyl was a culprit in Prince, in Prince's death. He was actually on prescription Vicodin and I guess ran out of Vicodin. That's me guessing that, but he was on a prescription of Vicodin and got some Vicodin from someone else, and they were pressed pills. They were fake Vicodin that were laced with fentanyl, and that's what he died from. And then Tom Petty also had a cocktail of fentanyl and benzos, which we all know is deadly, and he was being prescribed those things from a doctor. The fentanyl, I don't know about that. I do know that he was on tour with like a cracked hip bone or a fractured hip bone, and he was taking medication to get him through the tour, and he was gonna have it treated or operated on or whatever afterwards. So I know that he had prescription drugs, but a lot of those, they call them accidental overdoses, because like with Michael Jackson, I mean, his care provider was there with him administering the propofol and things like that to him. Right there, you would think that you were in safe hands.
Right.
Celebrities aren't different than us when it comes to falling victim to addiction,
Right.
falling victim to believing what our doctor says is safe for us, and they also have problems in their life. They have stressors, they become injured, they have health issues, so they are subject to the same things we are. It's just in the limelight.
And there's a different reaction when you're in the limelight,
Right.
right? So if you have, like Chris Farley, for example, phenomenal actor, very funny guy. When he passed, I mean, it was like you literally felt sad because you knew him. And that's why so many people go to their funerals, and because you know them. But if somebody ODs in your backyard and it's just, you know, this homeless guy that you'd seen a couple times, you're like, well, that was sad. Like they don't, like lives don't matter because of how famous they are.
What's sad too is something I was thinking when you were talking about Marilyn Monroe. Even if we know that they use substances, even if they've died from those substances, we still idolize them. So we still, it's almost like you're willing to sacrifice the bad of doing what they did to get there just to be kind of like them, or to feel the way that they may have felt, or to make you feel closer to somebody like that.
Well, it negates the stigma, right?
Yeah,
We're talking
exactly.
about stigma, but it's like if you are on this pedestal, then the stigma doesn't apply to you. It's a little different. You're not, you know, held by the same standards as we hold everybody else. So if I'm a celebrity and Brandy's not, and we both go and we do a couple lines of coke,
Right.
you're gonna look at us differently. You're not gonna look at us like, well, way to go, guys, great choice. You'd be like, well, Brandy, you should know better.
Yeah, because
You
she's
know.
famous and rich and her
Right.
bills are paid, and she doesn't appear to be suffering any negative consequences from it. And here I am, you know, living in Burke County and trudging away in the workforce, but really, that's how people look at it.
But,
Yeah, it's-
but honestly, what's the difference? Our behavior was exactly the same, our motivation was exactly the same. But if I'm famous, then I have this, idolized lifestyle.
I think what's really crazy too is if you think about like actors and actresses, and someone's like, oh, they do drugs, you've been like, they're an actor, of course they do drugs. Like that's kind of
It's no big deal.
You're not surprised by it. You're not surprised by the partying or the drug use or
I'm
anything like
surprised
that.
if they don't.
Right? Yeah. I mean, like, what? Because you just
Yeah.
think everyone does that, and I think with that it kind of takes away that like societal constraints of, and it does take away the stigma in the exact opposite way than what it is. Because there's like, well, if they're doing it and they're awesome and cool, then maybe I can get away with it too, right?
Who were you talking about earlier? Who was actually prescribed? She was one of your favorite actresses.
Oh, Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, tell us.
But I have one that really, really intrigued me. Corey Haim, and he played in The Lost Boys. Yeah. And so I was pulling his death records, and I was really blown away by what I found. So he died in 2010 due to a bad prescription medication concoction, and they labeled it an accidental overdose. But he had Valium, Vicodin, Soma, which is a muscle relaxant, and I don't know if I'm saying this right, haloperidol, which was an antipsychotic, were in his bloodstream. But then after he died, it emerged that he was using illegal aliases, and he had produced over 553 prescription pills in 32 days before his death because he doctor shopped. He went to 7 different physicians. He used 7 different pharmacies to obtain and supply, all who failed due diligence, and the pills included 195 Valiums, 149 Vicodin, and 194 of the Somas, and 15 Xanax.
Wow. I
So
said
that
never
blew me
heard
away because I'm like, I know before my doctor starts me on something, they do blood work and stuff. And if he was this far gone as his death records
You
were
would have
showing,
seen it.
would they
You
have
would
not
have
have seen that if he
seen
went to 7 physicians 32 days before his death?
But
That
if you
being
go
said-
to a shady physician,
And if you're rich,
And
you
if
can
that
pay
money and
somebody to
celebrity-
be
and if you're
shady.
doing this, I need a prescription.
Also, that was like 20 years ago,
Well, that's
which
true,
was
yeah.
before the big opioid
Yeah.
crisis, which
Yeah.
was before the database,
Before
which kept
tracking.
how many
True.
doctors you went
Yeah.
to and the
Yeah.
STOP Act and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's the very reason we have those things in place now.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're rich, you can pay a doctor to be shady.
Well, that's what it kind of blew me away because I was like, how much celebrity involvement goes into that?
How
Not
much
even just-
pull?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like how much can they?
Because they
Just
could
like-
shut you down if you think about it. If Kim Kardashian was to say, you don't want to go to that doctor because blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
In the
And she did
community
that on
that they
social
live
media or
in,
something?
right, that
Oh,
doctor
yeah.
wouldn't have another patient.
Yep.
That's all it would take, and that's not fair, but I mean, it's realistic, right?
So it's power and money, and
Right.
honestly, anything in life is influenced by power and money. From
Mhm.
politics to celebrities to all of it. But if you're the person caught in the middle, and let's say Kim Kardashian or whoever goes to a physician, just a regular physician, and acts like that, they didn't put themselves in that position.
Exactly.
And they can either hold to what they should be holding to in their Hippocratic oath, or they give into it.
Mhm.
And I think you can start seeing it too, just in like, influencers on social media too. They're
Sure.
out
Yeah.
partying, they'll have wine glasses in their hands at the
Well, it's
most
more
exotic
entertaining.
places.
It's much more entertaining than if you are, a goody two-shoes kind
Right.
of celebrity.
You know,
I'm just not that interested in you.
just a
But
week
their whole
ago,
career is based on it being edgy too.
just a week ago, we lost a famous YouTuber, and his name completely eludes me right now, but
Oh,
my
yeah.
daughter was like devastated. My daughter, her boyfriend, were like, oh gosh, he's one of our favorites, and
Because they knew
he's
him.
25. Yeah, he's 25 years old. He's a popular YouTuber, and he and a friend were in a car, and both of them had been drinking, and they crashed, and he's dead. I mean, at 25 years old, but the YouTube
And that guy, the
community
driver,
is
got charged
devastated.
too,
Yeah,
with,
which is
with
makes
like
sense.
manslaughter, I think.
vehicular
So-
manslaughter. I think is what the charge would be.
But that's what it is, we know them, and they become real to
Part
us.
of our
We've
life.
seen them, and they're, especially like with YouTube, I mean, that's constant all the time. And you start talking about them, like, did you see Kim the other day? I can't believe what she did on her show. And you're like, you know what I mean? I'm like Kim Kardashian.
Oh, okay, sorry. Just
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are like, did you see what Kim did the other day? Oh my gosh. I'm so rich. But I mean, or did you see Corey the other day? I can't believe what he did. Or you're watching a series. I'll give an example because I gave into it. Tiger King with Joe
You
Exotic.
gave into it, huh?
I gave into it. And I binge watched the whole
Carol
thing.
Baskin, you'll never get that
Yeah.
name out of your head now.
You won't. But then you're talking, I'll be like, did you see what Joe did the other day? Or people are talking, did you see what Joe? And everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You don't know Joe.
They're so influential. I
Yeah.
think too, part of them being so influential makes it hard for us folks who are not in showbiz to separate the personalities from their TV programs and shows and stuff from who they are actually as a
Right.
human being. So when they glamorize things like substance use and party life and things like that, it just is a turn on for us. It's hard for us to think, well, that's just for a movie. They're not really doing that in real life. We don't think that way. We're like, no, that's who that is, and that's what they're doing.
Right,
And
yeah.
I love
I was
it.
gonna say, like, you think we know, but we really don't.
Don't.
Like, they have their own personal lives at home, they're dealing with their own family struggles and stuff like that too. So
But we don't
really
view that as real either. We
Right.
view it all
That's true.
as something
another world.
different. It is. It absolutely is another world. And so we hold the people in our reality, to this standard and with this stigmatic view. But if you're looking at people who are celebrities, that's like a whole different thing.
Like, they're allowed to do it, I guess, because if you think about a politician, I would say they're equally as famous. And if they're,
Oh,
They're
no,
caught
yeah,
but
if
they're
they're
caught
caught
struggles,
doing anything,
yeah.
right, it's
No,
like,
we're
Yeah.
looking for dirt on them.
right.
To completely slam them on celebrities, you're kind of looking for dirt on them to be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I know something.
That's what
Yeah.
sells.
Yeah.
That's what sells. And they're just as culpable for failure and things
Sure.
as we are. But
But we should celebrate the recovery too, because you don't
Absolutely.
hear enough of that. And I
Right,
feel like
no.
if we would push that the same way tabloid pushes, guess who got caught with
Mhm.
cocaine,
Yeah.
then you would
It's
see a
important.
positive
I
turnaround as
think because
well.
recovery is the stigma
right.
for
Right.
actresses
Yeah.
and actresses and stuff
Mhm.
because
Well, 'cause now you're
Sheen
lame.
just came out
Yeah.
of recovery. They're trying
So
to stop
lame.
partying, like, and
Oh
then
my gosh.
they're not relevant anymore because they don't know how to party
Yeah.
and make movies. Well, it's really like, I don't know, it's kind of,
And I don't think they realize how important and how influential that their recovery stories
Yeah.
could be. What is the basketball
sure.
player's name? Chris? Oh my goodness,
don't
I
watch
can't
basketball,
remember.
so-
Okay, he's amazing. I have videos on him. He's on YouTube. You can look at Herren, Chris Herren. Spectacular story. Went from top of the world to homeless, trying to commit suicide, standing out in the middle of the road, kind of thing. But his story gives me cold chills to talk about. He talks about all that he went through, and he goes around and he talks to colleges and he talks to college basketball players and high school, and he says, get ready, this is coming, these things, be prepared for this, as well as Willis from Different Strokes. He's in recovery now, long-term recovery, and he does the same things. He goes and he talks to child stars and he talks to high schools, and
I wish there were so many
it's
more of
wonderful.
them.
Yeah,
like,
they're
that they shared
powerful.
their
But that's the
stories.
point, that you said one word, a first name, we all went, oh yeah, we know who that is. You said a word and we're like, I don't know who you're talking about.
You're
Someone in
right.
recovery, I have no idea.
You're exactly right.
I could give you a list of people
Yeah, he's
that
not
OD,
playing
but I
basketball
couldn't tell you,
anymore.
I can tell you now one person who's in recovery because she just said it.
That's, I really wish they would, because they hide on their way in, they don't want anyone to know they're going there, they disappear, and then they come back and they're like, I'm better, and then 6 weeks later, they're back on it
Yeah.
again, like, and I think the hiding part really is what's scary, like, you want the support, and you would get the support from everybody, I think, if you came out and you're like, I want to rehab, I can't do this anymore, and I think people would support you more than that too, but if you hide it from us, then we think it's a really bad problem, you
Yeah.
know, like, oh my God.
Chandler Bing from Friends.
Yeah.
Everybody was 100% behind him. RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man.
I got him on here, yeah. And I did not know
100%
his
backing
back
him.
history.
I'm like
Yeah.
secretly going, man, I hope he beats this. Man, I
Yeah.
hope he gets past this.
Right.
And when you do, the world celebrates with you,
Yeah.
but you've got to share it with them.
I
for
think
them
we need to
celebrate
celebrate
with you.
more.
Absolutely.
Too, and I think that might help.
Well, I want to talk about, like, if you're talking and you say, okay, who's Hollywood's bad boy? Who would y'all think it would be? Who is the most person that's talked about for being the baddest in Hollywood? That's a man.
Macaulay Culkin.
No, that he was on the list.
Did he die?
No, he didn't die.
Oh.
He's great right now. You know, he's in recovery right now.
And he looks
so
good too. I've seen some
amazing.
pictures, yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't see that.
Mr.
He-
Tiger Woods.
I was trying to think of a funny
That's a good
name,
one. I don't know
but
if I
she
can
nailed
remember
Macaulay
that.
Culkin because that almost made me laugh.
Well, he's 2 years clean. He just celebrated 2 years.
I'm
And
glad.
I was like, that is amazing because forever, that's all I remember
But you know
is
what
him
it
being
took?
slammed
It took him getting sick.
Yeah,
It
that's what I was
did,
gonna
it
say.
did, and he said his daughters, when it got to the point to where he was having to call neighbors to take his daughters somewhere, because he said he absolutely would not drive when he was impaired with them, he realized how much of his kid's life he was missing. And he has very strict rules in place now, like he only allows 5 people at a time in his home to limit his temptation.
He needs to
Relax.
share that.
Yep.
He
I,
needs
I
to talk
haven't heard
to
anything
people
about it. I thought he
about
was still
Me
out there
either.
drinking
Well, I
Tiger's blood and
found
stuff.
an interview, he
Yeah.
Right,
released
I had
that
no idea.
interview, but you don't see that on like tabloids. Wouldn't it be nice to see, you know, this guy went from here to here and like celebrate that?
Because the stigma is flipped, and
Right.
that's what's interesting. I'm glad you said that. You totally flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the non-celebrity world, use is stigmatized and recovery is celebrated. But if you're a celebrity, it's the other way around.
It seems like everything's flipped.
And that's a
though.
disservice.
It's a different
It
one.
is.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be.
I think we should celebrate it more. Definitely, like maybe we should like look into doing that.
Maybe we start celebrating those folks when
Yeah.
we find out.
That's what we do.
Mhm.
Because you know what that would
And
be?
share.
That would be a truth tactic.
That's-
Yes.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Hashtag true tactic.
So there you
love
guys
that.
go. Well, thank you guys for joining me,
Yeah,
and
thanks
thank
for
you guys
having
for
me.
joining us. At the end of At the end of the video, there's a crisis number. So if you know anybody in crisis, or if you yourself are in crisis, please don't hesitate to call that number. And also, leave a comment, and we'll get back to you guys. Thanks.
Thanks.